is good, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the WeSportin podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be doing the top 5 wide receivers in the draft. Now, as this draft is coming upon us very shortly and very soon, we have seen a lot of big, great wide receiver talent, and we've also seen a lot of controversy amongst the wide receivers, meaning how Devontae Smith's going to, where's Devontae Smith going to go? We saw his projections go from number 3 to to nothing. Well, not nothing, but he's fallen off in the draft. We've seen Jamar Chase, as he did not play last year, he has still cemented as the best wide receiver in the draft. We've seen guys like Terrence Marshall, Rashad Bateman go up in mock drafts. But we're going to get started here today. Also, we have Nick joining us as well today, too. Nick's going to be joining us alongside the NFL draft, and he's going to be basically riding with us for this whole NFL draft process, as we're going to cover. Like we said, as we covered our quarterbacks and running backs, so make sure you guys go and watch those as well, because those videos are very good. Me and Dylan, as we covered both quarterbacks and running backs, had great lists and great guys. But now, further ado, we're going to get started today, and we're all going to go number 5. So as Nick is our guest today, Nick, you can go with your number 5.
Okay. Well, my number 5, I put Nico Collins from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
He had 78 receiving. He had 1,388 yards. He averaged around 19.7. He had 13 touchdowns in this season,
Mm-hmm.
and his longest gain he had in the season was 76 yards, and his 40-yard dash was a 4.42, not that bad. And then his vertical was a 37.5 in inches.
I mean, that's not a bad pick at all. I mean, Nick Collins is more of the underrated pick, obviously.
Yeah.
He's more of your second to third round quality. And I mean, if you see him as more talent than some of the first round wide receivers, then I mean, hey, that's your opinion, which is cool too. Dylan, what are your thoughts on Nick's pick right here?
I wouldn't have him top 5. This is obviously the top 5 wide receivers. I don't think I'd have Nick top 5, but I think he's a good pick. I don't hate the pick.
Yeah,
he's not in my top 5, but
no, you can make obviously the argument for Nick Collins because Michigan guy, Big Ten. You guys know how cemented Jim Harbaugh is in his offense and how he likes to run things. So I mean, hey,
yeah,
this is number 5. He's number 5. So now moving forward into my number 5. I have Terrence Marshall Jr. out of LSU. He's had a great year, guys. He's probably the second best LSU receiver coming out of this draft class. He's a good prospect. Average 15.2 yards per catch, has 10 touchdowns, as long as 75 yards, had 731 yards in his last season with the LSU Tigers. And I mean, his best game, guys, it was against Missouri. Listen to these stats right here: 11 receptions, 235 yards. He averaged 21 yards per reception after yards, meaning as soon as he caught it, 21 yards, he would get. 75 was his long. He had 3 touchdowns that game. He can give you big games, be explosive, and he's a good guy to have on the offense. Dylan, who's your number 5?
I'm gonna go Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota.
Wow.
I was contemplating this, and I'll talk about my other top 4 after this. But statistically, his stats just don't pop off the board. This year, he had 36 receptions for 472 yards and 2 touchdowns. Last year, he had 1,200 yards with 11 touchdowns. Did average 20 yards on average per reception, though, so that's good. And then his first year, he had 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. His stats just don't pop up at the board, but I also don't see any big holes in Rashad Bateman's game. He's a good route runner. He has good hands. He has good speed. He's 6'1", or 6'2", sorry, 210 pounds. I don't see any holes in his game, but his just production hasn't been there, so I can't have him top 4.
I mean, yeah, that's understandable. Rashad Bateman, to me, is one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft, actually. And I mean, his production's very small, but has been very small at his years with Florida State. But I mean,
Minnesota,
by the way, my bad. You see the type the guy's build. A lot of people say he's next DK Metcalf. Highly doubt it, but
I don't have him as the next DK, but
yeah, I've seen a lot. But anyways, moving on now to number 4. I have Jalen Waddle. Kind of a surprising pick to some people because a lot of people look at Jalen Waddle to be the 3rd best receiver. But it kind of goes back to what Dylan was saying about Rashad Bateman. His production since his first year at Alabama has just gone down. He had 848 yards, 7 TDs. Then the next year, 2019, he had 560 yards with 6 TDs. And then we look at his last season. Yes, granted, he was hurt, though. He was hurt in the 2020 season. He was hurt. So I'm not going to disclaim, hey, he's not good. But when you look at, if you see him as a top 15 receiver, I say no. I say he falls out of the top 15. He will go first round, but he will fall out of the top 15. Nick, who do you have at number 4?
Number 4, I have Tutu Atwater from Louisville. He had an impressive season this year. I feel like he's a good wide receiver. For his receptions, he had 70. For yards, he had 1,276. He averaged 8.2 a game. He had 12 touchdowns. His longest gain he had in the season was 90 yards. And Louisville put him at like running back for I think 2 plays for rushing. So he had 2 attempts as running back. He had 29 yards. He averaged 3.6 because he did pretty decent. He had 1 touchdown as rushing. His 40-yard dash was 4.32 when he was going to get ready, and his vertical is 33 inches. He has a lot of progress that he can do to push himself to get into the NFL, and I feel like it would be a good accomplishment for him.
Yeah, I mean, you see nowadays a lot of those dual threat wideouts becoming running backs. We saw that in Anthony Golding last year, and we saw that in Antonio Gibson as well. I hate to say Washington players, but I mean, it's true. Washington was Antonio Gibson was a wide receiver, wasn't he, Dylan? And then he became a running back. Easily.
Wide receiver out of Memphis and
we saw how good Gibson did. Gibson did phenomenal for the pick that he was at last year. He was a 3rd-round pick, I believe, and he played phenomenal. So I mean, I kind of like that. I like Nick's picks. I do. They're unique. He's looking at the dual threatness instead of looking at the true position.
Yeah, Ty Montgomery. He was on the Green Bay Packers. He had an incredible season 1 year as wide receiver, and we lost a couple players. We lost our running back Eddie Lacy with an injury, and they moved him to running back, and he had an amazing season as a running back, and it pushed him, and it did really good for him. So I feel like that would be really good if he could do both jobs like that, of being a wide receiver and a running back.
Yeah, not a bad pick. I actually don't mind your picks. Actually, I'm actually kind of shocked with some of the guys you're saying because they're actually I feel like in this draft, we're just overlooking these top-rated guys, but we're not looking at the depth.
Yeah.
So I like that, actually. Dylan, if you want to go with your wide receiver, number 3. No, we're at 4, aren't we? No, we're at 3.
It's actually my receiver 4. I'm at 4.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
My 4 is going to be Jalen Waddle. Listen, I like Waddle, but he's coming off an injury, so it's, again, a little hard. Just like I did an episode on Caleb Farley on Chasing Rings where I talked about if Caleb Farley was healthy, he may be number 2 or top, he's up there, right? But he's coming off an injury, Jalen Waddle is. His production hasn't been there, just like Bateman. He has all the tools, but we'll see if he can get in the right offense and be able to be used correctly. You already went over his stats, so I don't have to.
Yeah. Jalen Waddle, guys, like I said, not a really big fan of him, but the next guy I'm a fan of, who's at number 3, as we're going on to our 3rd, is Rashad Bateman. Now, I know you guys are going to say, Rashad Bateman's on a top 15 pick. What are you doing? Well, I think he is. I personally see that. I know he's not, but that's to you. But to me, I think he's better than Jalen Waddle. And that's a stretch, but let me just tell you why. Bateman played he did not play a lot last year. I don't know how many games he played last year, but the games that, last year he only had 472 yards for 2 touchdowns. I mean, you really can't define this man's career off of that. He only played in 5 games last year for Minnesota. But if we go and look at his 2019 season, which I do not mind going back and looking at those stats, 60 receptions for 1,200 yards, 20 yards per reception, 11 touchdowns, as long as it was a 66. This guy's a beast. He is a beast. I mean, guys, he only played 5 games in this year. Don't judge the 2020 stats. If we're looking at his past production in 2019, had a monstrous season. Look for him to be a very top wide receiver in this draft in the long run. That's my number 3. Now,
All right, who's going number 3 next?
I'll give it to Dylan. Dylan, who do you got at number 3?
I'm going to do a big one here, and I'm going to get hate for this. At number 3, I'm going to go Devontae Smith out of Alabama. Listen. You'll see why, okay? Listen.
Wow.
What?
So
Number 3?
Number 3.
Guys, chasing rings right there, man.
So I was contemplating this, and it's not on my original list. My original list was Devontae Smith at 2, and my actual number 2 is going to be not who's number 2 on my list. And you don't even know who it is. So, all right. So Devontae Smith, great production, but he's the opposite of Rashad Bateman. And what I'm saying is that Rashad Bateman has the size, he has the speed, he has the hands, he has the route running, but his production isn't there. Smith has all the production, but his size isn't there, and his not his athleticism, but his immeasurables aren't there, right? You can't teach 6'3". You can't teach 4.4 speed. You can't teach 300 pounds, not 300, but 210, right? He's 6'2". For example, he's 6'1", right? People compare him to AJ Green for this reason, all right? AJ Green coming out of college was 6'4", 200 pounds, all right? Devontae Smith is 6'1", 3 inches shorter, and is 30 pounds lighter. I don't feel confident that Devontae Smith can beat NFL press coverage. Alabama was the best team in the SEC by far last year, and he just didn't have that big of competition. Think about the best corners. The best corner in SEC was on his team.
That's
Devontae Smith at 3.
Wow. Well, that's a WeSportin mic drop right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's
so, there's not, I don't know if you guys know this, but know this guy, but it's kind of like a weird pick I had, but just watching his highlights and what he can turn into the NFL by the coaching or what team he can go to, I feel like he can progress so much. I'm gonna go Rico Bushley Jr. from Hawaii. All right, I know Nico, you're making that face. But just watching his clips and his his stats from this year, from his other years, he did not do so good. He did not do really good. But this year, he actually did pretty good. He had 68 receptions. He had 1,017 yards. He averaged 15%. He had 12 touchdowns, and the longest game was 68 yards. His 40-yard dash was a 4.8, and his vertical
4.8.
Yeah, it was 4.8. No, wait, it was a 4.48.
Okay. I thought it was a 4.8.
That is really slow for a wide receiver.
No, it was 4.48, and then his vertical is a 37.4.
Interesting.
I just could just see the progression, but he sometimes he had a lot more he could have had maybe 80, 90 receptions this season if he mentally used he dropped the ball a lot. He had kind of issues during the beginning of the season, but once he started at the end of the season, he actually kind of progressed himself and got better at it. He was doing a lot better.
So he's a project pick.
He's a project. I feel like he would be a project pick. Yes, Dan. Yes, Dylan.
Here's the thing. I'm not against project picks at all, but it's listen, do you spend a pick on someone that you have to sit there and work with every
Well, some of the best players in the league were, though.
Yeah,
Devontae Adams was considered a project pick.
Let me ask you this. Who would you compare him to, Nick, if you had the Hawaiian guy? Please tell me, though, that Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase are at least in your top 2, right? Good God, this list is
Wait,
Jamar Chase is supposed to be on our
list.
list?
Are you serious? But he's
I'm joking.
I don't know who I can compare him to, but he kind of said Devontae Adams. He was not he was a good player in college, but he had issues. He had bad issues, but the Packers brought him in and taught him so much and progressed him to be one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL.
So you're saying if a team in the late rounds get a project pick and he gets to the right offense, he can be a good wide receiver?
Exactly. I feel he can can get pushed that far and become like.
But I mean, technically, even Nico, Terry McLaurin was considered a project pick.
Oh yeah, 100%. Terry,
and he wasn't really put in the right offense.
Wait till AJ Brown starts sucking.
He will never. He's great. All right.
So now we're gonna get into what number are we at now? I feel like I'm so stupid. We're at number 2. Okay. I want Dylan to go first because I want to know over Devontae Smith, who in the hell is better? I have to see it. Dylan, who's your number 2?
All right. So I'm going to say his name and I'm going to explain it and then you can add comments. All right.
If you say Jamar Chase, I'm flying to where you live and getting a frying pan and bashing you with
it. It is. You already named him. I'm joking. I
was about to lose my mind.
All right. At number 2. Terrence Marshall out of LSU. Let me explain why.
Oh my God!
What is going on?
Let me explain why. All right. Let me explain why. I told you guys to let me explain, and then I do it. He was Why are you putting a hood up? Okay, so he's already my number 5 wide receiver. All right, because he looked so. If you watch him, he looks exactly like Allen Robinson. All right, he's tall. Have you watched Terrence Marshall, Nico?
I have, but Allen Robinson's that's like an elite receiver tier you can compare.
Yeah, Terrence Marshall looks exactly like Allen Robinson. And the thing about Terrence Marshall is people thought the only knock on Marshall is he wasn't that fast. Then came out at the pro day, he ran a 4.38. He's 6'4", ran a 4.38, has great hands, good route running, great after the catch. He has no hole. His biggest hole is why I had him at 5 originally was he was slow. He ran a 4.38. He ran, I think, one of the fastest 40s of a wide receiver in this draft class in the top 10 in the top 10 wide receivers. Top 10 wide receivers. A 4.38 is one of the highest. All right. That's faster than what Jamar Chase ran. That's faster than a lot of these wide receivers. That's faster than what Devontae Smith would have ran if he would have ran a 40. Terrence Marshall has no holes in this game. And if you want to say there's a DK Metcalf, it's Terrence Marshall. He has size, he has speed, he has athleticism, he has a route run, he has good hands. No holes in Terrence Marshall's game.
All right, we're just going to move on.
Terrence Marshall at 2.
I mean, it's your personal opinion. I'm not.
Number 1, Kadarius Toney. Oh, go ahead.
Go home. Anyways, so my number 2 is Devontae Smith. Guys, I think Devontae Smith is the second best wide receiver in this draft. Do I truly believe that? No. But I'm going to say it because I don't want to look stupid. And I'm going to be honest. I do not want to look stupid and be like, I think Rashad Bateman's the second best wideout. Not going to say that because
I have my own opinions. You don't have to have my opinions.
Well, no, I don't.
You could have had Rashad at 2 if you wanted. I feel like Terrence Marshall is a little more impressive.
This video is about our true, who we believe is a true talented wide receiver that can be put in the NFL and succeed. That's what these videos are for.
Yes.
Now, Devontae Smith, undersized at wide receiver, yes, but builds back up in speed, and
he's not that fast.
Okay, and you kind of said it yourself. The best corner was on his team.
Yes.
But the thing is I want to see what Devontae Smith can do. He's not doing the pro day. He's not doing he's not having his thing. So that says something. That says, okay, you don't need to do those for your game to speak for itself. Now, I like that attitude a lot, but when you're drafting, is that the attitude a team is looking for you to go to the next level? No. So that is what's hurting his draft stock.
Well, I don't think that's dumb. I think he just knew that if he would have weighed in and ran the 40, his draft stock would have gone down. Because realistically, Devontae Smith probably would have ran a 4.5, and he would have weighed in at maybe 170, possibly even 165. If he would have weighed in and ran the 40, his draft stock would have plummeted. No, so I know why he didn't.
Like, I saw the video, and Devontae Smith, like his first attempt, he ran a 4.32.
He didn't do the pro day. That may have been in high school.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Because he did not do an Alabama. He caught like a couple catches at the pro day, but he refused to run the 40 and ran.
Yeah, he refused to do that. But when he had to like qualify for the combine, you have to do a 40 for you to do it.
Yeah, but the combine hasn't happened yet, has it?
No, it hasn't
happened. Combine's not going to happen.
Oh, because of COVID.
Yep.
Because because of COVID, but for you to get into the draft, they have to measure what your combine or what your 40-yard dash is for the coaches to see. And the fastest time they said that he ran was a 4.32.
But isn't that unofficial?
It's not.
Unofficial.
I watched what's it called? I watched Alabama. They're at the Alabama stadium and they mark it. I watched the YouTube video, the highlights of all the players.
When was that?
Well, he might have done better research.
I don't know. I can't remember, but I watched it.
All I know is that at this pro. What, Nico? You're lagging.
Yeah, Nico's lagging.
No. Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it is unofficial. Yes, that we don't really know for sure how good he really is. But I will say this. He's the second best wide receiver in my opinion. I will let his game speak for itself. And I hope to God that he does good. But I will say my hot take for him is that he falls out of the top 10.
I don't think that's really a hot take.
Well, a lot of people think he's going to go to Miami.
It's possible. At 6. They should take Pitts over him, but okay.
So now, number 2 for Mr. Nicholas. Nicholas, who we
I'm
got?
the same as you, Nico. I got Devontae Smith from Alabama. You didn't read it, but I had the stats and everything written down, so I didn't know if you're gonna say it or not. But his receptions, he had 117 yards. He had 1,856. He averaged 15.9 a game. He had 23 touchdowns. His longest gain was 66 yards, and then he had rushing. He had rushing yards because he could do that too. They put him at running back as well. He had 4 attempts. He had 237 yards. His average was 1.5, not really that good. He had 1 touchdown, and then he did kick returning and punt returning. He had 11 attempts as kick returning. His yards were 237 in total. He had 1 touchdown for punting. And for kickoff, he had 6 attempts, 52 yards. Not that good at kickoff, but punts he did. I feel like he had more successful with. And his vertical was a 34.5 inches.
I mean,
he has a lot of potential. I feel I don't Nico. I feel like he's gonna go top. He's probably gonna go top 10. I for sure know he's gonna go for top 10.
It goes back to what I said before. Could he go top 10? Sure, but whoever takes him top 10 is taking probably the biggest chance in the whole draft. And
it's either gonna be he's gonna do top 10 or I would say the farthest he will go is maybe top 15, top 20. No later than that.
And if he falls that much, then a lot of NFL teams that know more than we do about Devontae Smith that we don't know. Obviously, he's had to interview with teams.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So if that tells you more about why his draft stock is plummeting, that will tell you why. If that's why he's plummeting, you know the answer. Now we move on to number 1. And I think we all have the same number 1. So how about we just all say it together? Who the hell do you have at number 1?
No, he's kidding. He's joking.
All right, we'll just all say number 1 because you know what? Screw it. We all have the same one. 1, 2, 3. Jamar Chase.
3.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase.
Jalen Darden.
Chase. Sorry if I'm lagging a lot. I need to.
Wait. Jalen Darden.
Don't even know who that is. Anyways, Jamar Chase, guys, is arguably the best receiver with actual true talent. And 2019 season speaks for itself. He didn't play in 2020. 2019 stats say for itself. 84.
You want me to say his stats for you for this?
I haven't pulled up.
Okay.
84 receptions, 1,700 yards, 21 yards per average, 20 touchdowns. 78 was his longest. And that's all I have to say about Jamar Chase.
He can also do rushing. He can do rushing. His total points this entire season were 122. And then his 40-yard that he had was a 4.38.
Jesus.
They said his fastest so far was a 4.38, and then his vertical was 41 inches.
I mean, he's a legitimate beast, and
he's a very, very good wideout. I feel like he's gonna go top 5.
That's a good thing. That's actually glad you brought that up. Top 5. I will say, if he doesn't go to the Bengals, he goes top.
He's going at 7.
He'll go at 7 to the Lions.
Yeah. All right. Who do you think's predictions are going to be? Dylan says 7. Nico, what do you say?
I think he's okay. If you're Cincinnati and Panay's there, take Panay. If he's not there, take Jamar.
He's going to be there.
So I'm going to say, actually, I'll be bold. He goes to the Dolphins at 6.
Why didn't you guys let me go over my number 1?
Because you're going to say he's going to go number 29 to the damn Bills.
No, Jalen Darden. Why didn't you let me go over Jalen Darden?
I feel like he's going to go maybe 8. I'm going to say he's going to go 8.
No. Jamar Chase is 1. He's going to go at 7, in my opinion. I think he'll go to the Lions. I think what'll happen, I don't want to go through full on mock draft, but I think the Bengals will go Panay, and I think the Dolphins will go Kyle Pitts. And then I think you go at 7 and the Lions are faced. You need to get Goff weapons. I mean, their starting wide receivers? Like, I don't even know who their starting wide receiver is.
It's
Tyrell Williams. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually, I actually have a comparison for him, and it's kind of a weird comparison for Jamar Chase. But if you look at it, he's similar. I'm gonna compare Jamar Chase to DeAndre Hopkins because let me explain. How tall do you think DeAndre Hopkins is?
He's 6.
No. How tall do you think he is, Nico?
He's 6'1". He's 6'1".
Yeah, but how tall does he play?
6'4".
That's how Jamar Chase is. He's 6 foot, but he plays 6'4".
Yeah, I mean,
you wouldn't think watching Hopkins he's 6'1".
No, I would not. No, you do not. So I mean,
Jamar Chase reminds, huh?
I mean, I like I said, I do hope Jamar Chase does well. I hope he does because I say a lot of things about him. And I put up a lot of arguments saying that Jamar Chase is better than Devontae Smith by many aspects. So that will do it for this video. And why you're probably wondering I'm saying this video is because the video that you're going to be watching right after this one, which I hope you do, because if you don't, you're kind of crazy, is our top 5 tight ends. So I'm going to just...
Kyle Pitts, not number 1. Oh, what?
Dylan is full of hot takes. We need to put some duct tape.
No, he's number 1. Don't worry, guys.
I'm going to say this because I kind of want to make it a cool transition. We'll be starting the next video, 5 seconds.